parts of Limpopo, for example, is a constant reminder to all of us about how important this task is. Chair, and so we do, we had a lot of discussion on this bill at NEDLAC with our colleagues from the department. And we do appreciate, the need, and we agree the need to have a coordinated approach to pull together our water infrastructure and our resources into a single state organ, just to really help ensure and coordinate our national water objectives. But we are concerned, Chair, that
recording in progress,
that the state organ will be an agency or an entity within the public sector and won't be within the public service, for example, within the Department of Water and Sanitation. So that's why we're not able to agree to the bill, because of that thrust. We believe that this single state organ really should have been best located within the public service, and in particular within the department itself. So that's kind of the fundamental concern we wanted to raise, members of parliament, on behalf of workers in COSATU. So again, Chair, just to kind of back to the mandate. Again, we're a water scarce country. We kind of emphasize water is life for the entire nation. And I think, Chair, we would all agree, from Parliament to department to municipalities, all of us, that for many years we've collectively neglected investments in water resource infrastructure. I think we all know the backlog, budgetary allocations. And I think we've seen as a consequence huge amounts of water being lost daily to leaks across the aging infrastructure. But also we have a broader challenge as a society, whether it's as households or as consumers, whether it's industry, the mining industry, agriculture, etc., manufacturing, that we really need to kind of review how we overconsume water, and we really need to look at how we should be investing in recycling of water, conservation, etc. And again, the lessons of Cape Town 5 years ago, I think, were a useful lesson for all of us. So I think, Chair, these do require a single national approach. They require coherent coordination, efficient management of scarce resources, and effective integration. So the bill, Chair, we think proposes basically, kind of a couple of key points. One is the establishment of a water entity or agency, and the absorption of the Trans-Caledonian Water Authority, and possibly down the road other water entities. And that's fine, to consolidate various entities. We've long said we think there are too many entities. They're fragmented, they're duplicating, they're an additional cost to the state, etc. We should be kind of consolidating them, integrating them. But where we disagree is that it provides for the transfer of staff from the Department of Water Sanitation to the entity as well. And we don't support that. Again, we believe the organ should be within the public service, not an entity or agency. We also note, Chair, that Treasury, the presidency have all made indications that they don't want to see further entities and agencies being created because of the cost to the state, and also because these entities and agencies fall outside of the public service wage regime.
Mark, are you gone? I can't hear you.
We can hear him too, Comrade Chair.
Oh. Talent, get him back.
Yeah, Chair, the connectivity in Cape Town is a bit shaky today. Yeah. We are struggling.
Yes, I'm going to try to get it back, Chairperson.
If it is Cape Town, we must understand. If it is Gauteng, I must be in trouble.
So, apologies for that, Chair. The Wi-Fi I'm using collapsed for a second. Apologies for that, Chair. Give me 1 second, please. Oh, the doctor. I was nearly done, Chair, so I won't take too much longer of colleagues' time.
Okay. Let's continue.
Yeah, and apologies for that. So look, I think other concerns, Chair, is that entities and agencies are outside of the public service wage regime, and as a result, senior management frequently award themselves salaries and packages far higher than that allowed under PERSEL. You can look at the example of the Road Traffic Management Corporation, where the management earns salaries that exceed the President of the Republic, and that doesn't make sense. We also believe that it undermines the stability and certainty provided to the state and to workers through the Public Service Central Bargaining Council. And at times, departments struggle to exert policy and implementation control over entities and agencies, given that they have separate management structures, boards, and so forth. And we do believe that entities and agencies have an approach where they believe that collective agreements and the condition of service in the public service are not binding upon them. And they obviously seek, because they have the power under the law, to set up their own separate conditions. And this really creates financial uncertainty for the state, for the budget, and it doesn't have an impact upon the fiscus. It also does undermine the state's collective bargaining processes. It creates duplication of engagements. It undermines workers' labor rights and so forth. We also think, on the last Chair, that it creates an unnecessary distraction for all of us when collectively our attention should be focused on fixing the state, on addressing obstacles to service delivery, and implementing government's various laws and policies and programs. So in conclusion, Chair, it's a very kind of simple input we're making today. We do support a single state organ to manage our national water resources and our infrastructure. And we agree with the department that there's a need to prioritize this given our water scarcity and our challenges. But we simply just remain opposed to it being located in an entity or agency. We believe it should be located within the department itself. And of course, as COSATU, we're opposed to the agencyfication of the state, and we believe its developmental service delivery mandates, the managing of our water resource and infrastructure, our cost constraints, and protecting workers' right to collective bargaining are really best done through a department in the public service and not an agency. So let me stop there, Chair. It's a very short presentation, and thanks for giving us space as COSATU, Chair. Thanks very much, members.
Okay. Thanks, Max. I am very convinced I have not lost much of the COSATU approach since I left COSATU in 2016. I think I still hear what you're saying. That being the case, can we get the second presentation, Mr. Dwight? We'll engage both of them. Mr. Dwight? Is Mr. Dwight in the meeting?
I just spoke to him now. He said he's in the meeting, but I don't see him here.
Now, if we can't get him, we can't wait. We want to continue.
All right, Chairperson, I think you can continue. I just called him now. He said he's in the meeting, but I don't know what's happening on his side.
Yeah, try to find him. I'm giving you 2 minutes.
All right, thank you. You still can't get him, talent? I just spoke to him. He's saying he's having trouble connecting. He's borrowing a laptop, but then he's saying he's failing to connect. Then he thanked the committee. He said he won't be able to present.
He says he will be able to present.
No, he will not be able to present. He thanked the committee for the opportunity. He's having trouble.
Now, what does he want us to do? Must we not consider his presentation, or what is he saying?
He said that he will not be able to comment to present today because he's unable to comment to log in. He even borrowed a laptop to log in, but then he can't. Then he thanked the committee for the opportunity, but he won't be able to present today.
Okay. There we are, members. We are failing to get the presentation by Mr. Dwight. And I would want to avoid a situation where you want to talk to his written presentation, because the purpose of the meeting is for physical presentation by himself. I don't know whether we will still have time to do that. I doubt. The Honorable Mashobo, maybe in your spare time as the ministry, you might want to talk to him. We will not have heard what he wanted to say, unfortunately. Can we then engage the presentation by COSATU if there is clarification questions? And I think the department's officials are here. They will have listened to what was said, but I think we will still consolidate a report as a portfolio committee that will send to the department in order for them to respond, to react to it, or taking it into cognizance as and when the final document is going to be produced. I'm inviting hands of members who want to ask clarity-seeking questions, or even just commenting on the presentation by the Congress of South African Trade Unions of Honorable Matuba, Honorable Mo, Honorable Musala, and Honorable Sithuai. In that order, Honorable Matuba, Honorable Mo, Honorable Musala, Honorable Sithuai, and Honorable Tseki.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, the leadership from COSATU. Chair, I do have two questions with regards to the presentation. Of course, that will need clarity. I just wanted to check, Chair, whether COSATU was part of the discussion on this particular bill at NEDLAC. That is my first question, understanding that COSATU is a member there. And last week we received a presentation from NEDLAC, and when you look at the content thereof, it's like COSATU is saying a different story, or it's me who's saying a different story about the presentation. We know from the fact that there were disagreements, but finally they had agreed in terms of how do we move forward. I just wanted to check whether is COSATU not part of NEDLAC. And lastly, Chair, my question would be, if COSATU seem so adamant to Chair,
I'm listening.
COSATU, why should they think that if this agency is best suited in the department, what are the reasons, and what are the reasons? Is there anything that is of fundamental change if the agency remains with the department, Or if it's not located in the department, what could be the advantages thereof? That's my question, Chair. Thank you very much, Chair.
Honorable Moore.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the Deputy Ministers and the guests. Chair, Honourable Matuba asked the one part, which was, it does seem like the consultation with Labour that we were told about last week doesn't represent what was shown. But I'd like to ask a technical question, I suppose, which is the concern of the creation of this new entity that it no longer, let me phrase this correctly, the concern from COSATU's side that a new entity isn't necessarily bound by any old agreements. How is this handled? Is this a correct concern? I don't know if we have members from the department here, but obviously you can always cover things in an agreement as you set something up. But I assume the basis of their concern is they've gone through these processes beforehand, and this has been a challenge. So if we can get some clarity on that. Thank you.
Honorable Mutala.
Now, let me take this opportunity and greet members of the portfolio committee. No, Chairperson, my question is as follows. The agency, it seems like, will depend heavily on private partnership to ensure its sustainability, and what will the impact of water services provision and water tariffs determination? So members of COSATU there, can they please respond to us if South Africa is increasingly moving towards privatization of water, and how do they think this will affect South African citizens? Thank you.
Okay.
Mashego.
Yes, I had.
Ubonakala ukare ganyane jwale re kitimela kwa go privatization. So re nya go tseba gore ba le sustainability Mashego in terms of water service provision. The working class.
Delaying the meeting.
Sis Nancy, busy, I can't pass.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying he's delaying our meeting.
Yeah, I can't pass.
No. I think it's a network.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. Understand the meeting procedure.
The person was presenting here was not speaking in Pedi, so it does not help you to want to converse Pedi speaking people in this meeting. How's Nancy?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think in future there's a need to strengthen the rules of this committee procedure just to protect us from Honorable Rebecca Mkhala. Good morning, Honorable Mkhala, Chair, and the members and our guests. Thank you for the presentation from COSATU. The question that was a concern has been raised by Honorable Matuba. Who is COSATU in the network? Who is network without COSATU? That's the view. Perhaps needs to get clarity on that. In the presentation, the honorable member raised a historical view that says government for many years have neglected water provision with its infrastructure. That was a statement that you raised, which, according to me, that statement conforms clearly with the purpose of this meeting on the basis of your introduction, Chairperson, when you open the meeting. Why are we here? That statement by its own, it responds to your introduction. Government is attempting to improve the provision of water and is looking on different areas of weaknesses that we had as the country and as government. And the issue of wanting this entity to be in the public service, I would imagine that those attempts have been made for years. Now, the process now is to consolidate entities that are water provision that have been created by government in improving the issue of water service delivery to our people. So I don't understand when COSATU speaks about the fragmentation, which is a challenge, and it does not see what is the purpose of this program. Because this bill has seen what COSATU has raised, is attempting to consolidate that towards sustainability to avoid fragmentation. Yes, we understand, as many of us, we come from COSATU, we understand the principle that you may not challenge the agreements that have been created. But I don't think that is cast in stone when you have service delivery challenges. Remember, government has got a broad view to give services to everyone. So this process is not undermining the contractual agreement by COSATU and government. It's looking on how best can we give services to everyone. COSATU raised it very sharp that the scarcity of water in the country, and the department emanates from that premise to say how best. So I think the fear of COSATU, perhaps, and also COSATU should not climb on the National Treasury views. National Treasury is National Treasury. She looks at the money, but it cannot override service delivery program of departments, because this is well thought by departments, by cabinet, whatever. It's well thought. The National Treasury rules will be accommodated in this particular program. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Seki.
Baluqebayo.
Amasixwaye wena uwariswa into engekho
Honorable Seki, not Mhlala Seki.
Thank you, Chair. And appreciating the input of COSATU. Comrade Matthew, as a matter of principle, I think what you have raised, in my view, it should be conversant with the principle of the government under the African National Congress. My view is that probably you have made a study on the challenge of agencies or agencies of the state, and that can convince governments on the wrongs that you have experienced as COSATU. I think you cited something like conditions of employment, that tends to be different from the previous or from government, which is your concern, which I want to agree with you if that's the case. That's why I'm saying it could further get those examples. The other matter of the scarcity of water, I think it's what we are discussing almost every now and then, that we need to make sure that the water, it's accessed by almost all South Africans. And when this presentation was done, among many of the objectives was that the agency is going to make sure that every South African have access to water. And the issue of pricing is going to be relooked at, and many other issues that could be hindrances for the supply of water into our communities. So that's why I'm tend to agree with you. But equally, the reasons that were provided are equally as, as important as those that you are raising. So it's a matter of choice, probably, that we need to do. Thank you very much, Chair.
Oh, okay. The assumption I'm making that Max, you will want to clear one or two things. But the point that we must not forget, the colleagues sitting in this meeting, is that NEDLAC is a body of independent entities who have got their sole views and interests to be served by that structure. At any given time, when you have got space to pursue your views, be it in NEDLAC, be it in government, be it on the street, you still continue to pursue your views. But of course, there shall be a decision that shall be taken that shall bind it at a certain time. So I assume that COSATU is pursuing that view, even if they have pursued their views in NEDLAC, that there is a space for them to continue to pursue their independent view on what they said in NEDLAC that might not have been agreed. They are pursuing it. Our view is for us to make it a point that it does not supersede the majority of people or structures that is wanting to pass the bill. But it cannot be simply ignored on the basis of them being a minority. That's what I think that's what they're trying to want to say. And I do not get a sense, Honorable Mutala, that COSATU is pro-privatization. In actual fact, to the contrary is true. They are saying that they believe that this entity must be part and parcel of the department rather than stand alone. And they are saying that is informed by the fact that the salaries of these independent entities that are private way outweighs the salary bill of the department to a level where you find that a CEO is paid a salary way above the president of the country, using the independence of those bodies that are outside the departmental structure. It is for that reason that they believe it is not correct to agencify the departments. But I think it is their view. It is not necessarily that it is a fact, but it is their view. It must be respected in that way. But we must not misconstrue them for being a pro-privatization because they did not say so. But I think, Mark, you are here. I don't want to be your spokesperson. You can speak for yourselves. Mark? I mean, Matthew, sorry.
No, thanks, Chair. If I can come in. Yes, no, Matthew, Mark, it's all in the Bible. Same WhatsApp group. No, Chair. I mean, I think it's basically two issues that honourable members, I think, to raise and thank the honourable members for the questions. Look, in terms of the NEDLAC report, no, we were part of NEDLAC, obviously, as COSATU, and we had a lot of good engagement with the department. Obviously, on broad philosophical issues of a single state organ, of a coherent national response to our water issues, we agreed with the department. But I think at NEDLAC, where we disagree, just like here, where we have a different vantage point than the department, is that we believe the vehicle is best located within the public service and not within an entity or agency. And I can just kind of consolidate those issues again. No, we had looked at the NEDLAC report and we were fine with it. And I think when we looked at it, it did highlight whether there is an agreement between the department and social partners, like around the objectives, and also where there was disagreement, like, for example, on Labour's part, around it being an agency, not a public service department. So I don't think there was really any issue with the NEDLAC report. And I think the department did come to NEDLAC. We did have good engagements, and unfortunately, we were just not able to find each other on this one political issue. But Chair, look, I think to all the honourable members' questions, our issue around agentification is that it does undermine collective bargaining and collective agreements. It undermines conditions of service, because it says very clearly in the legislation, whether it's in this one or other legislation providing for entities and agencies, that they will set their own conditions of service as themselves. There's no reference to the PSABC. The only entity which ever has had a reference to the PSABC and collective agreements there is the Border Management Authority Bill, or Act now, which it does specifically say it will follow suit from the PSABC. And that was a positive compromise by the Department of Home Affairs on that one. But in this bill and another bill similar to this one, it just simply says the agency or the entity will determine its conditions of service, and that's it. So you then create additional collective bargaining structures and processes. And you've got no guarantee that the same conditions of service that people would have had in a public service department will then be translated to an entity, because it's not there. And if something is not there, then it can't be assumed, and the state can't be held accountable for it. And Chair, look, so that was a fact. And we can point to experiences. Chair, why we're saying fragmenting the state is that you have 5,303 entities currently within government. 5,303. This is according to the Minister of Finance in a response to a parliamentary question this week. Some of them are not even paying the state the taxes they owe to the state. So that's a fragmentation. I doubt any of us here, for the life of us, could name 5,303 entities. I don't think we could even name 500. It's already a mission for government, for a president to control what 40 different departments do. It's a struggle for government to control what 259 municipalities do. Now when we're creating 5,000 plus entities, and now say, let's add an additional one. That is worrying. I think, Chair, that's why you would have seen the proposals from Treasury, and yes, they're still draft proposals, but I think the essence has been in the pipeline for some time from Treasury, from the presidency. So not just some random departments, but even the presidency too. And the president has made that commitment in previous zones of parliament. We need to consolidate the state. We need to stop fragmenting it. And that's what they're looking at recommendations for the 7th administration about where is it possible to reintegrate many different departments and entities and so forth. And we've been raising that for years, Chair, because it creates additional costs to the state. You now have, instead of where you had one DG, you have a DG and a couple of CEOs. Or you have to create a board, you have to create new management, you have to create new HR, etc. So there is a duplication, and that comes with cost implications. And those salaries are not within confines of the public service wage regime, where in the public service wage regime, you have about, I think, 16 bands with a variety of notches within them. In some of these entities, no, you don't have that. It's a Wild West. And hence you will find something as obscure as the Road Traffic Management Corporation, which does little more than issue traffic tickets. The management, not even the CEO, the management team earns salaries that will make the president jealous. So it is a problem. And you have a tendency where departments, where management, etc., like any other human being, would have ambitions. And I'm not saying this is the case in this institution, so don't take it the wrong way. But where departments officials will they do a javelin approach, where they'll go and create an entity, knowing that they will be best placed to apply for those commissioners or CEO positions, etc., in that entity, and they'll earn a much, much better salary. Now we have a treasury in the budget, which has been passed by this parliament, which says we're in a fiscal crisis. We need to cut on the wage bill. We need to cut here. We need to reduce expenditure from and services. So it doesn't make sense. And why then we move in the opposite direction on this bill to say, no, we don't have a problem. Let's create an entity, knowing full well that there's no controls around the parameters of what the management will own of that entity. If you had taken the public service approach, then there would be controls in that regard. But in this one, because it's quite clear in the bill, there'll be no limitations in that regard. And there is a consequence here. In the budget, we've already seen the impact of the fiscal crisis, where vacancies have been frozen, where investments on infrastructure, including water infrastructure, have been cut because of the fiscal constraints. So it's a bit of a contradiction here. We're not sure which voices from government one listen to. Chair, I think to Honorable Matlala, she did raise a very important issue, which is also one of our concerns, and that is a fear that are we going to go the route of commodification of water? Will water be outpriced from the affordability of poor working class communities, rural households? That's the fear. And if you go that route, then that will undermine people's constitutional rights to access to water. And this has been experienced, we will recall in the mid-90s, where there was issues around in Mpumalanga, around the commodification of water and so forth. So that is the fear. And, part of the motivation from the department, without speaking on their behalf, is that they want an agency so that they're able to raise loans to fund infrastructure. And of course, loans comes with conditions. You must repay the loans, you must pay them with interest. So there'll not be a pressure point on the department to say, well, we should be increasing the price of water, etc. And again, we can look at the experience of electricity, where electricity is basically becoming unaffordable to many poor households, to SMEs, etc. So that is a real fear. And we would agree with that fear. Chair, I think, look, we agree with the department, Honorable Sekwai, around the objectives. And I think that's what we had said, both in NEDLAC and here. We support the objective of a single state organ to try to coordinate, to guide it, etc. Obviously, must coordinate with local government. But we agree that because you do have a variety of water entities and boards, which does duplicate issues, etc. But we just simply don't agree that we should be abandoning the public service as the institution, the vehicle for government to deliver on the service delivery mandate and try to create a new type of state through agencies. When you talk to the departments, they will struggle to give you any coherent response. They will say, no, agencies are not bound by the labor laws, but they are bound by the labor laws. They will say, well, agencies have more flexibility, but they can't explain what is that exactly that flexibility. They're saying that agencies have financial independence, which is not true because they're still dependent and funded through the fiscus. The only thing you can really get is that, well, management salaries are not bound by the public service issues. So we must also have a discussion at some point. At what stage are we going to fix the state and its many problems, whether it's an issue of the State Information Technology Agency or Public Works as a landlord? But let's rather resolve those issues by simply saying every time every department has it, many departments. It's not only Department of Water Sanitation, Home Affairs, Department of Labor, Department of Health, countless departments raise the same issues, but we're not resolving the issues. And the issues often relate to CETA, to Public Works, etc., whatever other regulations there are. We should rather fix those things as opposed to trying to create new state institutions time and time again. Because at some stage, you're going to have two states. We're going to have unnecessary duplication, unnecessary costs, and we will have to have the hard conversation about what needs to be done to fix the state. Yeah, I think that's largely the issues. I hope I've captured all the issues because I think all members were speaking to the same points. So I think basically in a nutshell, Chair, we support having a single state organ. We just are not convinced that we should be abandoning the public service department and moving to an entity. We should rather be fixing the public service and having that as the vehicle to deliver upon the mandate, which we all agree with, which Honorable Secretary raises, which we agree with. Well, the need to invest in water infrastructure, not just nationally, but also to the local government too, because the challenges are huge, the amount of leakages are massive, and it's a crisis, I think, collectively as a society, and in fact, many countries across the world, as government, as consumers, as industry, we've gotten used to a way of life which is not sustainable. We need to be much smarter about how we manage the most precious resource that we have out there. So I think that's why we agree with the objective. We just simply don't agree with the vehicle being proposed by the department. But yeah, I think, Chair, let me stop there, and hopefully I didn't talk too long. Hopefully I did answer honorable members' questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we heard what your clarifications are expected of us. Of course, I'm not sure whether there is. I've seen the hand of this Nancy. Is that a legal hand, Nancy? Sis Nancy. Honorable,
A legacy,
is it legacy?
a legacy hand share.
Okay, okay. If that is the case, I think we thank you very much, Kosatu. We should be in a position to to package exactly what you said and present it finally to the department as part of the public participatory process that we have gone through. Thank you very much for your time, and we have heard what you said. Is there anyone who still want to say something before we go to the minutes? You are released, Matthew. You are released.
Okay, thanks so much, Chair. Thanks, members.
There is none. Talent, can you present? Give us the minutes on the screen. There are the minutes, colleagues. The minutes of the 7th of November 2023. On page 1. Page 2. The observations and the systems of the billing. The things Kosat was addressing, the skills transfer to municipalities, the filling of vacancies, all those issues in the Umzimbu with Len Williams Dam and so forth. There you are. That's where we are. The Amanskrala water challenges. The president was there over the weekend. The transformation of the irrigation boards.
What was he doing, Mashiro, just to go and watch the people suffering?
Just as we have seen Julius singing songs that are irrelevant to the struggle, he was doing the same.
Your president is out of order.
Julius is out of order of singing.
What is the use for him? Because he's been going to Rama.
The meeting was at 11:40.
No implementation.
Can I have the mover of the minutes?
I'll move.
The minutes are moved by Honorable Moore.
That's Basson, not Moore. Basson.
Oh, Honorable Basson is here. What is it? Okay. That is Manuel Basson. Any seconder?
Second, Chair. Honorable Matuba.
Matuba has seconded the minutes. Thank you very much. We have come to the end of the meeting. We were supposed to have the meeting.
Sorry, Chairperson. There are 2 minutes. It's the 7th and the 14th.
Oh, yeah. By the way, give me the second one. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. On the 14th of November, there was a meeting which started in time. Page 1. Going to page 2, the presentations. Page 3, which might be page 4. If it is 4, I think it's still page 3. Your pages are not numbered, Talent. You must number your pages.
Then, okay. They are numbered, Chairperson.
Why I don't see numbers here? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Page 4. Summary of the resolutions. And the meeting was closed or adjourned at 13 minutes past 11. Anybody would want to take something on the minutes or move for the adoption? Okay. Let us begin the meeting, colleagues.
I move for the adoption, Chair.
Is that Honorable Sifai?
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay.
Second, Chair.
Honorable Tseki. Thank you very much. This is the last minutes. Is it Talent?
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I was just to say before I was corrected on the minutes that there is a meeting that is going to be taking place on Friday. The meeting is to discuss and debate the mini plenary of an item as raised by the EFF on the crisis of water in the country. There is a mini plenary on that item. So remember that we had a meeting arranged for that Friday in any way to discuss the issue of the legacy report, the draft report, just to get ourselves on par with where we are and see whether we don't want to make input on the draft. So we still will have that meeting. And I think we must make space next week, Tuesday, to have both items of that Tuesday and also the issue of that legacy report to be taken on board. So please note that the Friday's agenda has changed. We are going to be in the mini plenary. There are debates that we need to take it into cognizance to debate the items as proposed by Honorable Malema on the crisis of water in the country. So the agenda will have changed. With that in mind, thank you very much. The meeting still stand adjourned. We have broken the record. We have started the meeting. We finish it within an hour. That's good work. Thank you very much.
Viva, Chair, viva.